Hello folks, with the launch of the new patch this coming week, Delves are getting a bit of a refresh, with 2 full new Delves along with a brand new Nemesis boss, and updates to our Delve companion. So let's take a look at what's changing and how to make the best out of the new Delve season. As is the norm for Blizzard, the new season does see a staged unlock. With this week's patch release, we will be getting access to the Delves in all tiers 1 through to 11. The first 3 tiers are available for levelling, and those will remain largely unchanged, with tiers 4 to 11 getting the usual seasonal bump in difficulty, with higher enemy health and harder hitting bosses, but of course also better rewards. Bountiful Delves will not, however, be available until the season starts proper the following week, which will limit the available rewards. And for week 1, these are capped at Adventurer 3 out of 6 and Veteran crests. We're not currently sure if we're going to need to go through and unlock the higher levels of Delves. On the PTR, those levels were fully unlocked, but Blizzard's announcements haven't been super clear on this point. But if they are locked, I would recommend in week 1 that you run through and unlock the highest level that you can, so you can get a flying start on the Bountiful Delves the following week. But even if they are unlocked, if you have the time, I do think it's still worth dipping into and exploring the 2 new Delves and collecting all the treasures, along with pushing as high as you can so that you get a feel of the likely difficulty level. And this will also contribute to the open world vault row for the following week, which can award up to heroic level gear. Blizzard also haven't clarified if the Delver's journey progress can be earned in that first week, but my guess is that it will probably require bountiful Delves, so most likely we won't get any progress on the journey until the season starts proper. And for the Nemesis Delve challenge boss, single question mark difficulty will be available in week 1, but the double question mark difficulty will not open until that following week along with the main season. For the first week of the season proper, there's going to be a special limited time title to be earned for doing double question mark difficulty, but after the end of week 1 of the season that will cease to be available. This is a change to the 4,000 player limit for the equivalent title in season 1. Something that resulted in that title closing before most folks got home from work in day 1. So I do think by making it a limited 1 week thing instead, that will be a lot fairer for a lot of people. Diving into the 2 new Delves, and both of them are set in the new zone, the Coiled Isle. The first Delve is Naldor Isle. This is a very open delve similar to Collegiate Calamity, Atalaman or Shadowguard Point. And as always, there are multiple stories, the most interesting of which is Speaking the Language, which sees us rescuing some turtles. The other delve is called Ring of Glory and is very similar to the Grudge Pit, but is set in a much bigger arena with a bit more of an elaborate layout, and has some very unique stories, including one that sees us kicking skulls into a target, and one that turns us into a fast-moving spinning ball. As well as the new delves, most of the existing delves will be gaining an extra delve story, adding a little bit more variety to proceedings, although oddly, Suncolor Sanctum and Gulf of Memories have been left out. The Nemesis delve called Benenfall Deeps sees us take on Aztarek. This is a Simon Says style memory game which requires us to remember a pattern of safe zones to stand in, and this memory game occurs 3 times at 90, 60 and 30% of the boss's health, and the number of steps we need to remember increases each time, starting at 5 and going all the way up to 7. This will, I think, bring back some memories of the Kavessa Nemesis boss, but I do think that this will be a little bit easier to follow, and while the boss does do a ton of melee damage and is a bit too fast to kite and therefore will be a lot easier for tanks, it's also not quite as one-shotty as Kavessa. That is, unless you miss the memory game. But even so, this is for sure following that pattern from the War Within, where we saw the Nemesis bosses getting a bit harder as the seasons progressed. Defeating Aztarek solo on double question mark difficulty during season 1 will award a new mount the Apothic Soul Crusher. There were a couple of helper add-ons for this, but both of them got broken in a very recent hotfix on the PTR, which really wasn't a surprise. That said, I do think that there might still be scope for a manual helper add-on for the memory game, and I'll add a comment down below if any do emerge. Moving on to Valeera, and as with back in the War Within, we see her max level going up to level 80, which will be a great help as we progress into the season. Also returning for this season is the usual reset of the Delve Curios. As before, our current Curios are going to be removed and we'll need to collect a whole new set. But there's also a brand new customization option, which is the ability to select Valeera's poison. In Season 1, Valeera had a single poison ability for each of her 3 different roles, but in Season 2 we'll now be able to choose which of the poisons is active, with the 3 Season 1 poisons being available right from the start. In addition to that, there are 3 new poisons which you'll collect by progressing the brief introductory questline for the Season 2 delves. And the new Curios for Season 2 will, as always, be dropping from completing the delves, and these will likely take you a bit more time to collect. The Curios are honestly a little bit lackluster when compared to the best Season 1 options, but the long-term combat Curio to go for is the Corrosive Vial Spear, which offers a big damage proc to enemies. Prior to getting that at rank 4, Robotic Curse is the second place choice, and I would recommend taking whichever of these has the highest rank. The third option, Essence Trap, is very weak, and I would only use that if you haven't picked up either of the others on any rank at all. For the utility Curios, both Dundun's Favour, which spawns little spirits that you walk over to damage enemies and which also auto-loots Delve Curios with another damage buff, and the Soul Cracking Dreamcatcher, which does AoE damage whenever you interrupt or CC an elite enemy, are both very similar power-wise, though Dundun's Favour is a little easier to use if you're not great at interrupt. Venom Infusion, the third place choice, is a little bit behind those two, but close enough that I would still use it if it's a higher rank than the others. But for the Nemesis boss, I do recommend using the Soul Cracking Dreamcatcher. Looking at Valeera's poisons, and I recommend taking Bursting Toad Toxin, which applies a pulsing AoE dot. This is obtainable via the Season 2 Delver's intro questline, so you should get it almost right away, but the main alternatives to that, which are all pretty similar, are on screen now. As to selecting the role of Valeera, if you're in a group with a tank or a healer, or if you're a solo tank, you will want to select damage right from the very start. But as a solo DPS, I'd advise starting out with a set to healer instead until you're happy that survival isn't an issue for you, after which you can switch to DPS to speed up those runs. And if you play a solo healer, which I personally do not recommend for delves, I suggest selecting Valeera as tank and focusing on keeping her alive and letting her otherwise clear the delve for you. When it comes to the delve challenge boss Aztec though, the selection is a little bit different. For this, I would recommend always selecting Valeera's healing role, regardless of the role you play on your character, as this fight does have some dispels, and Valeera will handle those for you in her healing role, making the fight quite a bit easier. As you would probably expect, Nullius will no longer be occasionally visiting us in our delve runs, and will instead be replaced by the new Nemesis boss Aztec. And this will be reflected in the Nemesis bonus ad packs, which focus a lot on flying serpent enemies. And that Sanctified Spoils banner, which you had to find to get some extra rewards, is also being replaced, this time by none other than Dundun's Shrine. So yeah, that does mean you will be having to hunt down our favourite, or not, Lure of Abundance in our delve runs. The Season 2 Delver's Journey is getting a refresh with brand new bonuses to collect, although those bonuses I think will feel very familiar to Season 1's. Rank 1 unlocks Curios and a new Fortified Amani Awning Decor. Rank 2 will award you 6 Corrosive Souls, a currency that is relevant for the open world events reward. Dundun's Shrine of Abundance will become available at rank 3, with rank 4 unlocking Gilded Crests, Rank 5, the gear vendor Zaran, along with a new Delve mount, the Corroded Soul Crusher. Rank 6 unlocks the ability to buy 2 extra coffer keys per week, and the Amani Territorial Totem Decker item. Rank 7 gives us an update to our Delve Obot toy, meaning that its teleport feature will now start to work for Midnight Delves. Rank 8 unlocks Warbound gear from rank 9 and above Delves, along with the Ulatech Ritual Stone Decker. Rank 9 will unlock a chance to get hero gear from our tier 11 Delve runs, along with the currency that will enable us to buy hero gear from the vendor Zaran. And rank 10 awards us the title Snake Eater, along with higher drop rates for coffer key shards. There is also a third mount available from Delves this season called the Delver's Arcane Golem. This is awarded from one of the one-time treasures that you get in the Naldor Isle Delve. This, at least in the PTR testing, had a 100% drop chance from this specific treasure chest that you will find at this location. Gear-wise, Bountiful Delves will drop Adventurer gear up to tier 4 along with Adventurer crests, Veteran gear and crests from tiers 5 and 6, and Champion gear and crests from 7 through to 10. Tier 11 will also drop Champion gear, with a chance of it becoming Hero gear once you hit rank 9 in the Delver's journey, along with Hero crests regardless of where you are on the journey. And of course, once you unlock the Gilded Stashes at Delver's journey rank 4, the first 4 delves that you do every week on tier 11 will award you a small amount of Myth crests as well. And the Nemesis Strongbox that you get if you encounter the Delver's Nemesis in your run will drop Champion gear at levels 8 and 9 and Hero gear from 10 and 11. And the new Trove Hunter's Bounty map will unlock Veteran gear at levels 4 and 5, Champion at 6 and 7, and Hero gear from 8 and above, along with matching levels of crests, meaning that you will very likely want to save your map for level 8 or above runs if you're capable of doing them. And that's it for my run through of the Season 2 Delves. Delves have tended to fall a bit below the radar in the community, which is a bit of a shame, as this is great content, especially if you don't want to have to deal with finding a group for Mythic Plus or Raid. And if that's you, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Otherwise, do remember to drop me a sub or a like. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.